a foster child, I was with a number of families. Most important one was at 1525 50th Street in Ballpark. First downstairs with the family wife, and then upstairs with the family of Jesse Deutsch, because that was the best part of those first 5 years. The next 5 years were spent in East New York on Alabama Avenue with the family Brown. I had schooling, of course. First junior high school, and then high school, optical mechanics. And I was very happy taking the course, and then meeting Emma at Brooklyn College, and I fell in love head over heels. And the love has lasted so far, 65 years since we got married. Thank God. The best thing that ever happened to me in my life was meeting Chava Pfeiffer, Eva Pfeiffer, in a Hebrew class at Brooklyn College. And it went on till we got married in 1950, in January of 1950. I started teaching bar mitzvahs at the age of 15, 16. And the boys were 12 and a half. And then I got a job in the Talmud Torah as a permanent Talmud Torah teacher in the afternoon at Torah Mitzion. The teaching came very easily to me. I never felt I worked a day in my life whenever I was teaching. It was really a work of pleasure. And I stayed in that school for a number of years. Until I got married. After I got married and I was taking a master's, I had to teach in the morning because the courses at Columbia were in the afternoon. So I went to teach at a yeshiva of Eastern Parkway, with Rabbi Silver, Olafa Shalom. It was a very good experience, that was too. And that qualified me to go out of town. So we didn't know how to go about getting a good job. So people recommended to us that we should go to the conservative movement's teacher placement out of town and find a good job, which I did. And that's how we landed in Lowell, Massachusetts, after we got married in January. And after the summer, for September, we started in Lowell, Massachusetts. In Lowell, I was in a community Hebrew school, which was the only Hebrew school in town. So that not only the members of the conservative temple, but the whole town, whoever had children who wanted bar mitzvah preparation and the Jewish education, came to the school. I was very friendly with the Orthodox rabbi, the late Rabbi Khan, who was known as the Uchiana Ilui from Lithuania. And I helped him in running the services in the Orthodox shul. There were actually 2 of them. And one fine day, we had a visit from the prominent members of the Orthodox shul who came to us. There were 2 teachers, Hillel Langerman and myself. And they told us that they can no longer run the Chevra Kadisha, and that they needed people, otherwise it would close down, and Lowell would no longer have a Chevra Kadisha. Chevra Kadisha, of course, is what deals with people who passed away. So both Hillel and I became members, and we did a lot of service to the Chevra Kadisha without any kind of pay during the years that I was in Lowell, Massachusetts. We had a good stay in Lowell for 7 years. And if they would have let me move to Boston, because meanwhile we had 3 children, and the oldest one was going to school and was coming home with a good part of the Christmas play. So we had to keep her out of school in Lowell. And we knew we wanted the children to go to a day school, possibly Maimonides School in Boston under Rabbi Soloveitchik's founding and supervision. But Lowell would not let me move away and stay with them as a teacher. So we had to look for greener pastures. And I have a very good friend who was my junior counselor in camp, and he found out that they were looking for a head teacher or a vice principal, which I became in Montreal after the interviews and so on. And so we moved from Lowell in the middle of the winter to Montreal. In Lowell we had the oldest 3 children, and the 2 youngest ones were born in Montreal. Montreal
was cold.
has a problem with the weather. From Sukkot to Pesach, you can expect snow. From the time you sit in the sukkah till the time you go to the Seder. So the climate was fierce in Montreal. And we were a family already with very young children that moved to Montreal. I must mention that the late Mrs. Pfeiffer, may she have a lifting in Gan Eden, was like a mother to me when I came to Montreal, offered me her home to be in till Emma could come to Montreal a few months later with the family. They were still in Massachusetts. And then the moving and the settling in and being acquainted, and they had a German Orthodox minion for Yom Noim that I became active in. And through them, I got to know a number of people, including the chief rabbi, Rabbi Hirschbaum, and his almost chief rabbi, Rabbi Nishnik, who became the chief rabbi after Rabbi Hirschbaum passed away. And I established a good relationship with both and went to study with both. I studied with both of them a number of times a week for 3 years, and that led to my getting the smicha to Rabbanos from Rabbi Hirschbaum and Rabbi Nishnik. During the 7 years that I was in Montreal, my 2 youngest daughters, Ilya and Judy, were born. And after 7 years, it was time to move on. And so we moved to New York. My friend Rabbi Lichtiger had become the principal of Flatbush Yeshiva, and he got me to be an assistant principal in the elementary school in both the Hebrew department and the English department, so that I was busy all day when I came to New York the first year. And after the first year, I got a job in Riverdale as the principal of the Riverdale Jewish Center, and it paid very much more for the second year and thereafter. We came to New York from Montreal, and I continued teaching in Flatbush Yeshiva and in other places. And I must say that in my 50 years of teaching, I never worked a moment. It was all pleasure. You got tired after working a couple of hours, but it was all pleasure. It wasn't like work. I just loved it. We moved to New York. It was 50 years ago, and stayed there till I retired. And then we made Aliyah about 20 years ago. Now, in my teaching, I taught all kinds of things. I was a full-time assistant and associate professor in the Bernard Pupil College. And there I taught Judaic studies, languages, Hebrew and Yiddish, and sometimes German. And the years just flowed one into the next. I was very happy doing whatever work I did in teaching. I have great pride, not only in my children, but also in my grandchildren and great-grandchildren, because that's a fitting continuation of our family's heritage and our Judaic identification. If you'll ask me, what's your proudest achievement, I will say to you that I had my revenge on Hitler, Yamach Shemoy, raising 5 children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. The 5 children we have are Baruch Hashem, and that we are very proud of that, all Shomrei Torah Mitzvos, and fully identify with our Jewish and Zionist ideals. I wish you all who are here tonight, celebrating my 90th birthday, that we continue to develop our Judaic heritage well into the future, so that we'll have Dor Acharei Dor who are practicing Judaism to the fullest and enjoying our heritage that goes back so many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Amen.
Amen.
Dobre.